Okay guys, walking around the table, I've noticed some of you did actually remember a few things about right triangles. And if you don't know exactly, no worries. Here is the QR code for the Padlet again. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and write them down and I will go ahead and go over those questions. Okay, so now on the board, here's a right triangle. So some of you said, it was all about, it has three sides, the three angles add up to 180 degrees, and some other things. But I want you guys, and I'm sharing the link right here. Go ahead, and this is not a quiz. It's not a quiz. However, it's titled a quiz. So, but it's not. It's just, I want to go ahead and know what do you know about more about the right triangles and what you discuss with your teams. So go ahead and log into that session. There are only 4 questions with your whole team. So go ahead and talk about it so we can get started. I'll give you about 3 minutes. I'll give you about 4 or 5 minutes to go ahead and finish that mini assessment. So go ahead and take your time. Five minutes have passed. Great. Thank you. Now, I've seen that you guys responded. Very good responses. So some of you were a little bit tricked about the questions. What was weird about these questions? Can you ready to tell me that? It asked us about a different term. Okay. So what was that term? What did I ask you? What was the term that was so difficult to understand? Yes, Juan, go ahead. It said something about Pythagorean. Yes, the Pythagorean theorem. That's correct. And I saw your faces. I saw your faces, and you were like, "Oh, what is this? What is this?" I thought we were talking about triangles. Why? Because all of this, what we're gonna go ahead and talk about today, we'll continue to do it in different classes. So we are going to talk about this theorem that is the Pythagorean theorem. And why am I talking about right triangles? Why am I talking about Pythagorean theorem? Because these two concepts are linked together, okay? So this is kind of like, this class is just for a recap on right triangles, and we're gonna go ahead and develop a little bit on that. And finally, in the following classes, we'll go ahead and look into the Pythagorean theorem. All right? Awesome. So, yes, I asked you about what the Pythagorean theorem is because it all comes back to the right triangle. Now, what does it mean about Pythagorean theorem? And I'm going to go ahead and give you the definition. The Pythagorean theorem says that, and I'm going to write it on the board, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I know, guys, that you took algebra. You took algebra 1 and 2 before you did, this class in geometry. So I know that you guys know about, x plus this and that. So this equation, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So what does it mean? The Pythagorean theorem for the right triangle, because it only works for the right triangle, says that this side of the triangle plus this side of the triangle, but square. So this side plus this side square equals c square. So this square plus this is gonna equal this line over here. I know it probably sounds a little bit difficult. What I wanted to just go ahead and give you a quick something on it. Okay, so now we're gonna see, okay, what are these lines? What am I talking about? Okay, so this is where we are gonna go ahead and start with a little packet. Now this packet, what I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys, and you can say on your teams, This is gonna be your vocabulary. This is gonna be for all of you to have in your notebook. You're gonna glue it on your page on your notebook because we're gonna come back to this. This is gonna be very, very important for all of you to have in hand when you're stuck somewhere about the Pythagorean theorem or when you're stuck somewhere about the right triangle. It's vocabulary, okay? So go ahead. Give it to all of you. All right, so right now I have actually wrote down all of the concepts that I wanted to give you. But what about this? What about, and you guys please use pencil. I don't want you guys to use any pens for now because I want you guys to discuss with your teams. This first part, and I only give you the first page of this packet because we're gonna go little by little so you guys don't get confused. So this first part of the packet, and you can see it with my camera, you know, those cameras that teachers have that you can actually project this and see it. So it says it says the Pythagorean packet, and I did a few modifications on it. So it says the right triangle here, the same picture that I showed you right here. It's right there. And it says the right triangle. There are a few statements on the right triangle, and there is a vocab box on the right side. So what I want you to do with pencil, guys, because I know that you probably are gonna do a few other things on it. So I want you to guys be able to erase and then write again. So it has a vocab on the right side. It says legs, hypotenuse, right angle, opposite, and I added another opposite and adjacent. We're gonna go ahead and add that word as well. And I have it right there. So I want you to go ahead and I'll give you about 3 minutes to go over the statements, kind of like fill in between, because in a few minutes we're gonna go ahead and do it all together. So go ahead and start now. Yes, Mariana. Just go ahead and read throughout this vocabulary because we're gonna go ahead and need it for the next classes. So go ahead and think, okay, legs. Where on this statement is going to be legs? And I know, guys, that we added a few other words. So those other few words, I'm gonna go ahead and give you the definition of them because they're not listed here. But for the ones that you think that are listed here, go ahead and do so. Okay, thank you. 5 minutes have passed. All right, I was walking around the table. I was asking you guys what you were doing, and some of you get the idea, and some of you asked me a lot of questions about what the hypotenuse was, what does it mean, and some of them were very obvious. So let's go and get to it. So with my camera, so you guys all can see, for you guys that need a visual on it, here it says the right triangle. Now we're gonna go ahead and use legs, hypotenuse, right angle, opposite, opposite, and adjacent. Yes. So the first one, we're gonna concentrate on the left side. These sides are called the blank of the triangle. So here, I'm gonna go ahead and show you right over here. It says that these sides are called the blank of the triangle. And it points this one, this side, and this side. All of this. So, what does it say? We have legs, hypotenuse, right angle, opposite, opposite, and adjacent. These sides are called the legs of the triangle. Legs. Okay, those two sides. And I'm gonna go ahead and give it a little bit of color so you guys see in orange. This side and this side. All right. So now, the following says, this angle is a 90 degree. It's 90 degrees. And it's also called a, yeah, pretty obvious, the right angle. Yeah, all of you got it. You know, It's okay if it's not obvious. It's okay if you guys were struggling on that, but I'll go ahead and let you know. So some of you, when you were on the little quiz, you in the little assessment, you guys told me that the right angle, that part specifically, you can tell right away because it has like the shape of an L. So here's a full triangle. You said that this part over here looks like an L. So that's a very nice way to identify it. That is going to be a right angle, a 90-degree angle. And I see that you guys have actually looked into this. So yes, the right triangle is called that way because of the right angle. So we're gonna go ahead and write it down, right angle. And on the following says, the blank is the longest side of the triangle. We're gonna go ahead and stop it that way, just for now. So it says the blank is the longest side of the triangle. Okay, I'm looking at, you know, this triangle, it has the right angle over here, has the legs. So the longest side of the triangle is gonna be called, and this is going to be the longest side. It's gonna be called, anybody? Yes, Julian? The hypotenuse. Very, very, very good. Why do you know that? Why do you know that? I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but can you please elaborate on it? Okay. Oh, you thought that was also the opposite? And you know, it's not entirely wrong because we're gonna go ahead and write it down, hypotenuse. You said that it was opposite to the right angle. And that's actually the next part. Yes. We're gonna use an opposite because yes, the hypotenuse is always gonna be on the opposite side of the right angle. And I want you guys to highlight right angle. So let's go ahead and write it down and just highlight that part over there. All right. So now it says it is blank the right angle. It's opposite to the right angle. Now we have used legs, hypotenuse, and one opposite and the right angle. Now what are we missing? Another opposite and the adjacent. And remember, this is your vocabulary, so I want you guys to write it down. Go ahead, all of you. And with my camera is right here. So let's go ahead and add this on one side. The opposite side of the triangle, or the right triangle, is opposite to the given angle. All right? So the opposite side of the right triangle, the opposite side, not just the opposite, is the opposite side of the right triangle is opposite to a given angle. Not to a right angle, to a given angle. So what do I mean with this? That is your right triangle. That is your right angle. What? And we know 180 degrees, yes, but we can't assume that that's 90 degrees and the other two angles are gonna be equal, 45 and 45, divided equally, because that's not how it always works. Triangles look very, very different. So you can go ahead and see, oh, this wasn't a good idea. So, and let me show it to you in another way. Right here, and yeah, it's not very good. But here, this is also a right triangle, and I'm sorry, I couldn't measure it correctly. But that's a right triangle as well, because what is this? That's a right angle. Yes, that's a right angle. But as you can see, it looks a lot different like the one that we drew originally. But it has three sides, it has the right angle, it has the longest side, which is the hypotenuse, legs. So we can assume that every angle is going to be the same. So let's say that they give us an angle. And let's say that they give us this angle. And they say, oh, you know what? It's a 30-degree angle. And we want to go ahead and see what the opposite side of this right triangle is based on the given angle. So we say, and you guys can see it over here, that's the angle. So the opposite side is going to be on the opposite end of the given angle. So what does it say? That this angle, right, this side right here across it, from it is going to be the opposite. So you can guys go ahead and just do a little arrow so you can guys select it. Okay. Now next will be any questions? Any questions? I know you're probably gonna say no questions, but we will go ahead and see it. Okay. So the next one will be the adjacent. So go ahead and write it down. You can write it down above it. That's fine. The adjacent side is next to the given angle. Again, given angle. And go ahead and highlight given angle. Again, let's say that we guys have this angle right here. And we know that the hypotenuse is always going to be the longest side. And we know that the opposite is always going to be on the opposite end of the given angle. So right here. So what we are missing is this side over here. And it says that the adjacent side is next to the given angle. So it's going to be this one. And we're going to go ahead and highlight it. I went ahead and do so. But I want you guys to understand that probably it can be different. Now, let's say that the angle that they give us is not this one, but this one. So we know that we have this angle, probably we don't know this angle, but we have this. And this is always going to be the hypotenuse. And what is going to be the opposite? On the opposite end of the given angle. Very nice, Daniela. So if when they give us this, that means that this side is going to be the opposite and the adjacent side is going to be next to the given angle. I know that is probably, you know, a lot of different info, but it's fine. So that's why I want you guys to save this. After you finish with this, you're gonna cut it and you're gonna put it on your notebook. Now, what I want you to do is the following.